A little over a year ago, I had a job working overnight at a gas station close to my house. I'm a woman and was 31 at the time. I know to some it seems unsafe for a woman to work graveyard shift by herself. However, it was a slow store and the sheriff's office was about 20 feet across from it. I really didn't think I would have that many problems. There would be about 30 customers in an 8-hour shift, and that was on a busier night. It was about 3:30 in the morning. I went outside to sweep the parking lot and last minute checked the trash. It was time for a cigarette, and I had one headphone in kinda jamming out. Across the road in the parking lot of the sheriff's office, I saw a figure with his back to me. He was swaying back and forth while looking down. Honestly, it looked like he was enjoying a much-needed piss. Against the sheriff's office, though? Yeah, the building closed at 4 p.m. and didn't open again till 6 the next morning, but why? By the back of his ripped white t-shirt, I remembered that he had come in about 4 hours earlier. He was a total creep, and I could already tell he had a good buzz going. I didn't say anything. I just took my eyes off of him and tried not to draw attention to myself. It was working until a car pulled in. I was still outside as they pulled up. I saw him look at the car and then at me and back and forth again. As the customer was leaving, I walked her outside. I still had half a smoke burning and had left my dustpan outside with the squeegee. We both heard him start to swear angrily and seemingly engage in an argument with himself. She looked across the road and told me to be careful. I made an awkward joke about him being the one who should be more afraid of me or something like that. The man was still there, but closer to the road, now facing the parking lot of my store. Whatever he's yelling was completely unintelligible. He was obviously very drunk and can barely stand straight, still swaying away. I didn't engage him, but I didn't take my eyes off of him this time. I just slowly walked back into the store. Something about his face really bothered me. It had a darkness to it, but his eyes looked wild. My experience during graveyard jobs has been that the crazy-eyed ones are the worst ones. I didn't like it at all and wanted no part of it. I still had almost 3 hours to go and 2 before any other employees got there. Instantly, I went to the computer and typed up a temporarily closed sign just in case he wanted trouble. I was coming around the counter on my way to the doors when I saw that he'd walked across the road to my side now. I literally just barely got the second door locked when he stumbled into our very small parking lot. My hand mimed the hand signal for cut across my neck, basically saying, "Nope, sorry you can't come in here. We're closed." I shook my head back and forth too, hoping to further discourage him. He started walking away but screamed something at me while he's walking. I don't mean he was grumpy and shouted at me or yelled that I was an asshole or anything. I mean like he was at an enraged volume and was violently throwing his hands everywhere. Definitely knowing I'm in the wrong shift of the wrong job, I got really skeeved out. I decided to call the cops. It's a good thing too, because the minute I hung up with them, there he comes again up to the door. He starts pulling and banging on it. He backs up and runs into it, trying to ram it. Not that it would have done any good. I made the mistake of telling him that I had called the cops and his ass was about to be grass. I say I made the mistake of telling him because once I said that he took off, the police never found him. They drove around the road in surrounding neighborhoods for over an hour but found no one. He was on foot, so I don't get where he could have gone to. He didn't harm me, and with them not finding him, I didn't fill out a police report or anything. I was safe behind thick glass doors that were locked for the rest of my shift. It just sucked. Maybe if I didn't warn him ahead of time, I wouldn't have had to spend the last 3 months of my job constantly looking over my shoulder. I'll never know maybe it's just me, but this really freaked me out. I had just started working graveyard at the gas station close to my house. I believe it was my 6th shift altogether, but the 4th being by myself. It was just after 11 o'clock p.m. and this man came in. He's about 40 and had the dumbest haircut I had ever seen. Think botched bowl cut. Anyway, he asked me if I had change for 100. I told him I'm sorry, but I wasn't allowed to take it, and even if I was, I didn't have the change. Side note, the company's 3rd shift policy was we were not to take $50 or $100 bills, period. Well, he got upset and started complaining. He started trying to talk me into getting change from the safe. I apologized, but again said that I couldn't. I tried my best to continue on to the elderly customer waiting behind him. He called out to his friend to ask if he had anything smaller. The kind lady I was waiting on asked me to hold her bag while she used the restroom. Bowl Cut's friend comes in, and I immediately saw that he's on drugs. Now, I try not to judge people, but it was obvious. His face was covered in sores, kept touching at them, and he kept bouncing in place on his toes, like some kind of tweaker prize fighter. The friend started asking me questions. "Hey, sweetheart, how you doing? Are you always here all by yourself? Do they let you have weapons behind the counter? And if so, do you carry one with you to work?" "I always carry a gun. How much money do they allow you to carry in the drawers? Do you still have to do safe drops even though business was so slow?" Each question that he asked made me slightly more uncomfortable. I'm kind of a mouthy woman, and I don't always use my head before I speak. Finally, I interrupted him and was like, "Look, do you plan to rob me? Because if you are, then you're wasting time. I don't have time for this and need to get back to work." His hands fly up and he started sputtering. "Whoa! Whoa! Rob you? What the fuck?" "I was just trying to make conversation. What's wrong with you?" I answered with, "Well, then your conversational skills could really use some work. You don't ask a woman working alone overnight those types of questions. So the real question is, what is wrong with you?" I saw now that Bowl Cut had pulled the car horizontally across the parking spaces closest to the door. Upon seeing this, I was just beyond done at this point. I told him to leave the store and not to ever come back during my shift, or I'd call the cops. He left. The poor woman who had gone to the bathroom had heard some of the exchange. She came up to me before leaving the store and asked if I was all right. I told her that I was and thanked her. Just a weird customer that gave me a weird feeling. He only came back once after that. I was in the cooler and could hear him yelling at the manager about not being allowed in the store. The manager told him he listened to the audio and would have done the same thing that I did. I know what some could possibly be thinking. I was over-defensive and dramatic. He was probably asking about the money because I couldn't exchange his friend's 100. But what about the other questions he asked?
Excuse me.
No.
No.
What is your problem?
Excuse me.